From all the news that has kind of come out over the last long while now, it definitely does seem like the New York Rangers are looking to be a very active team and definitely want to go out there and make a splash trade. And one player that they have been linked to possibly make that splash trade happen is JT Miller. And this past Saturday, we ended up getting some very big news on this JT Miller trade situation to the New York Rangers. So in today's video, we're going to kind of cover that and a little more involving the New York Rangers and the possible trade that could happen between the two teams. And, overall, I do think JT Miller, is a good player. I think he would be a nice add to this team. I know some Rangers fans, don't love the idea of kind of trading for a guy that, was once traded away. But I think overall, this would be a good player to kind of add back. I think what he brings is definitely some more what this team needs. I mean, he's going to definitely bring in some good offense there. I mean, he can play make, he can score goals. Those are two things that this team can definitely use more of. We need some more offense there at 5-on-5, and adding in a player of his caliber definitely will help with that as well. He can be a nice addition to the power play unit also. So there definitely is some big positives offensively that he's going to bring. He's also, yes, not that kind of Brady Tkachuk type of player that we definitely need. One of those kind of guys who's a true kind of pest and a physical force out there on the ice. But I think overall he's still a really solid, well-rounded player. He's not going to win a Selke. Not going to be the best defensive forward in the league, but can definitely hold more than his own out there. He is a plus defensive forward, in my opinion. So bringing that all-around game, I think is good there. Like I said, that 5-on-5 play, the offensive capabilities that he does bring at 5-on-5 is something that's very, very big, and I think that this team definitely needs more of. We've seen for year after year, it seems like season after season, this team has the issues, of scoring at 5-on-5. There's been some big issues with this team. So adding in a guy like JT Miller and kind of bringing him back, and obviously he's a much better player, I would say, than what we kind of saw JT Miller back when he was with the Rangers. He's a much better player now. He's, hit the 100-point mark, hit the 99-point mark, has been a above point per game player multiple times since he was New York Rangers. So he's not coming back to be that same kind of guy. He's coming back to be a true, elite level kind of difference maker. And, if he is traded for by the Rangers, I think he will be a big difference maker. I don't think he's going to be, obviously some, top 5 player in the league for us, but he can truly have a major impact on this team and be another kind of 100-point guy, just like an Artemi Panarin. So if you have both those guys on your team, that's a lot of offense there. And, you can split them up and you kind of spread things around there. And I think you can really make some good kind of line combos with what the Rangers have right now, with guys like Trocheck, Panarin, Lafreniere, Kreider, even Zibanejad. I mean, he's starting to turn things around a little bit as well. You can kind of make some pretty good line combos there and have a really good kind of 1-2-3 punch possibly, especially if Zibanejad is kind of continuing to kind of get back on track here. You could have really good 1-2-3 punch down the middle there of guys like JT Miller, Zibanejad, and Filipino. But the big kind of news that we're going to talk about actually in today's video about the JT Miller trade is about it kind of possibly maybe not happening, which is definitely a little unfortunate to kind of hear. So let's dive into the actual kind of news that kind of sparked today's video idea, and that is the quote that we're going to talk about from Elliotte Friedman, who's obviously a very, I would say, pretty much the most reputable, person in the hockey world when it comes to news and kind of updates and reports and rumors and all that kind of stuff here. But he did end up saying Saturday night, quote, JT Miller, I expect, who's going to play tonight unless something changes at the last minute, and he did end up playing in that game. But there was a time over the last 24 hours where JT Miller was not going to play. He was going to be held out of the lineup because talks were progressing on a trade. I believe that team to be the New York Rangers. He also went on to say later, now I don't know exactly what happened, but that trade is off right now. So there's nothing close that would prevent Miller from playing, but things have progressed to a certain point where it definitely looked like he wasn't going to play. And that is big because what he's basically saying is it does seem like the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks were possibly very close on getting a trade done for JT Miller. If he's going to be sitting out of the lineup, that means that they must be really close to getting a trade done. I mean, if they were just kind of in initial talks and we're still, quite a ways off of kind of a deal getting done, I doubt JT Miller is probably going to be sitting, right? He's more than likely going to be playing. But then you obviously have the factor where he's basically saying that it seems like things were really, really close to getting done. And obviously they fell through last minute, I guess, or possibly a little before the game happened and earlier Saturday at some point. Who knows exactly, but that's pretty interesting there. It definitely seems like there was a trade that was really close to happening, and that kind of sucks that it fell through. I think it would have been interesting to kind of see, JT Miller kind of join this team, and does this mean a trade is completely off the table and it's not going to happen at all now? Maybe not. I mean, I think it's still a possibility. I'd imagine that things could come back around at some point, possibly, and they could Drury and their front office can obviously kind of come back around and kind of talk about a potential trade at some point later on in the future. But this is interesting that apparently they got really, really close to getting a deal done, and then it fell through last minute there. JT obviously ends up playing in that game Saturday night and ends up getting 2 points as well. So they get the win. They get JT gets 2 points there, a couple assists. So obviously he had a pretty good little game there for them, and they end up getting the win. So that's good for the Canucks there, but not great for the Rangers, who are a team who's obviously looking to go out there and acquire JT Miller. I mean, he's a player who I do think can truly be an impactful player. I think he can be a difference maker for this team. And Saturday night as well, we also saw a post on X from Rick Dhaliwal, who is a very reputable Canucks kind of, insider, you could say. He gets a lot of their kind of news and kind of inside information. And he ended up posting on X saying Canucks are trying to move Miller, but Miller's agent, Brian Bartlett, tells me his client never went to the team and requested or demanded a trade. And that's interesting because there has been some kind of off-ice kind of issues between, JT Miller and another star player in Elias Pettersson. So, maybe there was kind of some people who thought that JT Miller possibly kind of went to the, front office there in Vancouver and kind of said that, hey, I want to trade, I want to get out of here. Obviously, that seems to be false, that, nothing did happen there at all. So that's obviously for the Canucks side of things. They're good for them that he's not apparently requesting out, but for the Rangers, maybe makes things a little more difficult to kind of, get a trade actually facilitated there to kind of get across the line if he's not really kind of trying to get out there. So we'll have to wait and see. And there have been rumors about either one of them getting traded away, Elias Pettersson, or a guy like JT Miller. I can't see both getting moved, but, there have been rumors about one of them getting traded away and that, both have kind of been maybe shopped around a little bit at least. So that I think is pretty interesting in itself. And I do think that, like I said, overall, JT, I think, would be a really nice addition for this Rangers team. I think this team needs to go out there and acquire a player. Now, JT does have a full no movement clause, which, definitely makes things pretty interesting. He has a full no movement clause until the 2027-2028 season there. That 2027 off-season there, 2027, July 1st. Then and there, that's when it becomes a modified no-trade clause down to a 15-team no-trade list. So for the next few seasons, though, it's going to be a full no-movement clause. So, is he willing overall to just come to the Rangers? I have no idea. I mean, it's not like he's from New York, but he is, from Ohio. He's on that eastern kind of side of the United States there. So maybe he's willing to come back over onto the eastern side of things there and, come back over to the same kind of time zone, I guess. I don't know exactly kind of what his feelings or thoughts are on coming back to the Rangers. But my guess is he probably would be okay with it, and it could end up working out for both sides there, JT and the Rangers, if a trade were to happen, and also the Vancouver Canucks as well, who, could possibly be getting back some pretty good assets in return for a player like JT Miller. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, and also definitely comment down below your thoughts on this whole JT Miller situation. Do you think a trade still could happen? Do you think it's going to get done? Do you want it to happen? Like, that's also the question as well, is do you want to see a guy like JT Miller himself get traded back over to the Rangers? Do you want to see a different kind of star player acquired, like a Elias Pettersson or a different guy as well? Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers.